And now, marine weather around Alaska.
For Saturday on the south coast here, gale warnings, east winds 30 to 40 knots, central coast east at 20 with 9-foot seas, and east-southeast winds 20 to 25 knots. For the north coast, Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay, Stevens Passage, winds east at 15 knots, Clarence Strait, east winds 30 knots, seas 7 feet. And for Sunday, gale warnings continue here. That next storm coming up, 40-knot winds out of the south and southwest with 23-foot seas on the south coast. Clarence Strait also looking at 40-knot southeasterly winds, seas 18 feet. Southeast 25 for Stevens Passage, southeast 20 for Lynn Canal. And for the north coast here, north to northeast winds at 20 to 30 knots. Prince William Sound, Saturday, east wind 20 knots, seas 4 feet. East to 25 with 7-foot seas for the western North Gulf Coast. Cook Inlet, north to northeasterlies at 15 knots, seas 2 to 3 feet. Gale warnings for Kamishak Bay, northwest at 35 knots, northwest 30 knots for the Barren Islands. For Sunday, northeasterlies at 10 knots for Prince William Sound with 2-foot seas. And for Cook Inlet, northeast 15 to 20 knot winds, seas 5 feet. And the eastern North Gulf Coast, north to northwest winds at 15 to 20 knots. And for Kodiak Island tomorrow, northwesterlies at 30 knots, seas 6 feet. Alaska Peninsula, small craft advisories, south to southeast winds at 25 knots, north at 10 with 4-foot seas for Bristol Bay. For Sunday, Alaska Peninsula, south to west winds at 25 knots, southeast 25 for Bristol Bay, and east to south winds at 20 to 25 knots around Kodiak Island. Gale warnings for the eastern Aleutians tomorrow. Southeast winds 35 to 40 knots with seas 7 to 14 feet. Gale warnings for the central Aleutians. South winds 40 knots with 8 to 15-foot seas. And full gales for Amchitka Island. South to southwest winds 45 knots with 25 to 30-foot seas. And good storm warnings from Kiska to Shemya. Southwest winds 50 to 55 knots with 32 to 34-foot seas. And then on Wednesday, we got west winds at 40 knots for the western and central Aleutians here, all the way to Atka Island from Shemya and Attu. And then west-southwest at 30 to 35 for the Fox Islands. And for the southwest coast, south of Nunivak Island, east winds 25 knots for Saturday. East at 30 for the Yukon Delta coast, southeast 20 for Norton Sound, southeast 25 for St. Lawrence Island, southeast 45 knots there for the Pribilofs, and southeast at 50 with 21-foot seas for St. Matthew Island. And then for the day on Sunday, minimum gales here possibly for the area south of Nunivak Island, 35 knots out of the southeast. West at 20 there for the Pribilofs, east at 40 for St. Matthew Island, east winds 30 knots for the Yukon Delta coast and St. Lawrence Island, and east at 25 for Norton Sound. And up along the eastern Boulevard Sea coast, west winds 15 knots, seas 3 feet, southwest at 10 with 2-foot seas for the central Arctic coast, west side, light west breeze there at about 10 knots, and east winds at 15 for the Chukchi Sea. And for Sunday, a little windier there for the Chukchi Sea with east winds at 20 to 30 knots with seas up to 7 feet. Small craft advisories for the western Arctic coast, east at 25, seas 5 feet, east at 20 for the central coast, and northeast winds 10 to 20 knots for the east side.